a very happy new year. Hope this year is going to be a good year. Last year, because of the COVID situation, there are so many downfalls. But every downfall, there is always a chance for us to get up and show our strength again. This is what is happening now. And we wish everyone a very happy new year. Today, the first event for this year. Last year, you may be aware that we have done close to 25 events with close to 100 CP hours. This year, we will be able to do much more than what we were doing it in the previous years. So that's the aim for this year. We want all the members to participate in all the events organized by the chapter. In fact, today, we are going to the technological year. So here itself, we are starting with the technology as a first event, so that we are, as a chartered accountant, we are not behind on anything. We are looking forward to the technology and we want to embrace the technology. That's our theme of the annual seminar, that we are going to take it forward as a first PDC event for this year. Moreover, today, we are blessed to have our past chairmen over here. In fact, one of our past chairmen is, we are doing a farewell for him today. Is CA B.R. Shudir. We are going to miss you, CA B.R. Shudir, for your contribution, for your kind words, the way we were interacting with, the way you are blessing us. We are going to miss you a lot, but everyone has to move forward. So we are wishing you all the best in your forward journey. Then, following the farewell speech, we are having two technical sessions. The first technical session is going to be done by Tally. It's going to be a Tally knowledge series, where Mr. C.A. Raghu is going to talk about the Tally and what are all the things which you as a chartered accountant can get benefit out of it. Then the second is going to be on a digital technology and transformation by C.A. Saurabh Goenka. He is the co-founder and CEO of Mindcap Digital. Mr. Saurabh Goenka was introduced by Mr. Mohan Balakrishnan. He is also a chartered accountant. We wish all the members to introduce excellent speakers to us, so that we can organize an event which will be benefit for the entire community. So we look forward the participation of the members in giving us an opportunity to interact with the speakers to get more and more speakers. Thank you, Mohan Das Balakrishnan. Then our chief guest of the day is CA Dayaneva Sharma. He is our Central Council member. He is the man again of a technology. He is going to talk about the role of CA in emerging technology. So we are going to have 2.5 to 3 hours of event today. Be patient, but this is going to be a very, very interesting session today. So that's why we want to start with a bang in the new year. So before I conclude my speech and handing over to CA Neeraj Rutolia, as we start the new year, we would request all the members to pay the membership fees on time. This will help us to interact more and more with the members, and this will benefit the chapter, and at the same time benefit the members. And also, we have negotiated a good deal on the insurance, home insurance. We request all the members to take the insurance as early as possible. It protects our home. Generally, we are slightly not so keen on that. So with that, I'll hand over to CA Neeraj Rutolia to take over the proceedings. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the members, for joining the event. Over to you, CA Neeraj.
Thank you, CA Krishnan. Thanks for the good opening. And I hope that everyone is keeping safe and doing well in this pandemic time. Although we see that there are a lot of things being opened up, and the government authorities are allowing to do many activities that were not allowed earlier. And with vaccination coming up, I think we all see a light in the tunnel, and hopefully everything will start improving soon. But please do take care of yourself. Opening up doesn't mean that you let your guards off. We continue to embark on our journey, distant learning. We believe that one of the most important areas we can develop as professionals is competence in accessing information and knowledge and sharing knowledge. Today we have CA Dayaneva Sharma. Central Council member who is incredibly knowledgeable in the field of technology, and he's passionate to see how technology can develop our profession. Thank you, Dayaji, for accepting our invite to be the chief guest for today's event. The technology is impacting us as well as our profession in a dramatic way. Soon we will see that the role of accountant is going through a sea change, and we need to adapt to new skill sets to remain excelling in this profession. In order to see this impact, we have two great sessions today, one by Raghu, who will be taking us through Tally Knowledge Series and will update on the changes that has come up in Tally. Also have another techno expert, CA Saurabh Goenka, who will be talking on digital technology and transformation. The chapter is trying to engage with each stakeholders, members, sponsors, and by doing webinars, both professional and social. The managing committee has planned one event with Oracle on something again on a technological base, with change in the finance. And we also plan to have an event on union budget. I welcome you all to the virtual CPE meeting on today's topic, augmenting technological reality and embracing the changes. Very apt, very important for each and everyone. I request everyone to be please safe and advise for all the advisory by authorities. Now, as you know that today we have a special event session that is farewell to our beloved past chairman, CA B.R. Sudhir. Sudhir has been closely associated with chapter's formation and activities since inception and has served as a chairman during 1998 and 1999 for 2 years consequently. He has been a guiding force to all our committee members. Sudhir always calls us before the annual seminar and various important events, wish us good luck, and extends his helping hand in whatever way he can. I have been in touch with few other members who happen to be his client and have always heard about his great professionalism and he being a great human being. His simplicity is known to all of us. Sudhir is going to India for good and may come back to spend his retired life in the UAE. That is what I have been told, not officially. We wish him all the very best, great health, and loads of happiness. Take care, Sudhirji, and we will miss you. Over to you to please address our members. Please unmute yourself. Start.
CA Neeraj Ritolia and other committee members, distinguished faculty members, and my dear friends. I'm really not prepared to, I have not prepared a speech because I did not know I was going to be one of the speakers. I came all prepared to hear all good things being said about me. And therefore, it's a bit of a surprise. But having said that, you know, as somebody once said, all good things must come to an end, but it need not end for good. In end, there's always the beginning of something new. And this is what I firmly believe. I have ended one phase of my life in the UAE, which has been a fairly long, it has been almost, I would think probably, I don't know, but maybe almost my whole life, 2/3 of my life, whatever. And I now embark on a new phase, which I think I find quite exciting, because this will, while I am sad to leave the UAE as all my friends are here, the chapter of which I have been a member for so long continues here. But even though I will be in India, technology has now made it possible for us to be in touch, to see one another, to talk to one another. And so I don't think that even though I'll be going, I don't think I'm really going. And again, I will be visiting on and off. I'm sure of that, pretty sure of that, to meet all of you. And I do look forward to that. I'm very grateful to all of you for bestowing this honor on me. This is, in my mind, totally undeserved, because I'm not sure I can look at anything which I have done which has contributed to the chapter's growth as such. But I am grateful that you have done it. And I thank all of you individually. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sudhirji. I mean, sorry for on the spot. I thought definitely you will say something, and we always wanted to hear from you. This such kind words of encouragement to us, and thank you for all your guidance and support all these years. Now I request CA Naresh Jain, please say a few words.
Chairman Neeraj, the committee members, past chairman, and distinguished guests. Sudhir is one of my closest friends for over 37 years, and I can count such close friends on my fingers. We are family friends who truly enjoy each other's company. We have gone on several holidays together and thoroughly enjoyed each and every trip. We also go for a leisurely breakfast every Friday. Neeta and I definitely going to miss Deepika and Sudhir big time. We know that Sudhir is leaving Abu Dhabi for a noble cause of taking care of aging parents. And one needs a lot of guts to take such selfless decision of uprooting oneself. I have worked as a chapter's general secretary under Sudhir's chairmanship for 2 years, 1998 and 1999, and learned a lot, which became very useful during my tenure as a chairman in the subsequent 2 years. Sudhir is thorough professional, a man of principle, likable personality, and a friend who everyone should have. I refuse to say goodbye to him and looking forward to his retirement life in Abu Dhabi in the future. Hearing this, I hope that the chairman will not cancel his farewell dinner on Saturday night. All the best, Sudhir. All the best. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nareshji. Now, C.A. Sekhar, if you can please say a few words. Unmute them.
Okay. Chairman Neeraj and his fellow committee members and distinguished guests, good evening to all of you. I feel a little sad today to address this gathering, as this is to bid farewell to one of the eminent personalities of our chapter, our past chairman B.R. Sudhir, who is a close friend of mine. Sudhir can legitimately claim his share of building this chapter to where it is today, and we all remember his contribution with fondness and with a deep sense of gratitude. Sudhir, however modest you are about your achievements, we thank you from the bottom of our heart for what you have done to this chapter. As a friend, like Naresh said, he has been there to help any of his friends, and he has helped me in many ways, especially when I was a committee member. Most of the members now, you are young now, they may not be even aware of what I am saying because they are all used to emails and things like that. During those times, when we did not have emails, to go write a circular, print a circular, take copies, go to the post office, post, all these things was a hassle if I even use the word. During those times, Sudhir, he threw open his office and his staff to help me to do all these things. Sudhir, I have not forgotten those days and the help you have extended to me, and thank you very much at a personal level. Apart from what you have done for the chapter, and as a member of the chapter, I thank you for whatever is your contribution, which is greatly appreciated. Sudhir is a very good friend and a very kind person. One thing about Sudhir is I have not really seen him losing his temper under any circumstances, which is a very rare quality. But he was firm where he needed to be. That's a very enviable combination of qualities. Sudhir, since you said you are going to visit us, let me tell you, you don't need an invitation to visit us. And please feel free to visit us whenever you visit UAE. I join all others here, Sudhir, in wishing you a very happy, healthy, and joyful retired life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sekhar. Now I request Srinivas Acharji, please, to say a few words.
Yeah, Mr. B.R. Sudhir, C.A. Neeraj Ritolia, C.A. Dayaniya Sharma, other speakers and dear members. It's a rare privilege to speak a few words about Mr. Sudhir, who has been my mentor and was the chairman when I was the treasurer. He's an amazing leader, and like everybody said, I'd like to quote from Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher, who said, "A leader is best defined when people barely remember that he exists. When his work and his aim is fulfilled, they will say, we have done it all." I'll illustrate this with one example during his tenure. It was the second year of his chairmanship. One Friday, he said, Srinivas, let us go to Mafraq Hotel, where there was a social event that was arranged. Abu Dhabi is always a telephone economy. You just call and everything is arranged. So I was wondering why Sudhir wants to go to this hotel. So I said, I have to follow the leader. So I went. And there was an Indian general manager in that particular hotel. And Sudhir worked his soft magic with him. He happened to know many common friends. And at the end of it, the manager, who initially said the members will be given the hall, gave us the pool side at almost the same rate. And instead of 3 main courses, he gave 5 main courses. And instead of 1 suite, 2-3 suites. This is the kind of magic he always worked out. And not only that, when we were traveling to Mafraq, he mentioned about so many things about the chapter. I was little circumspect whether I could continue as a secretary due to the job pressure. He said, Srinivas, don't worry at all. Anything you need, I will support. All the members will support. Don't break the journey and continue fast. And that leadership really helped. And when I went to the hotel, for a couple of other occasions, the manager every time he used to ask, how is Mr. Sudhir? That is a kind of magic, soft magic, but really powerful way he used to act. He has in his professional, personal, and in the chapter life, he has a bias for action always. And he's close to the customer, in the sense the people always. He is in touch with everybody. Whether he just over a period of time, he would always be in touch and try to find out what is going on and with the people, and he used to stick to basics. These, I think, are his main leadership qualities. So subtle, but so powerful. He has made a great impression on me and the entire chapter. His contributions are numerous. Certain other trivia you should know about him. He is a BSc graduate and then did his CA. He wakes up early every day at 4 a.m. and he's very, very humble. Like in his speech, he said, I have done nothing, but that is not true. He has done immensely. And he is from an illustrious family. His dad is a finance, used to be finance editor of a major newspaper, and superb memory. Once they had come to Abu Dhabi, 15 years later when we met, he remembered everything that had happened 15 years back. It's of course we'll be missing him, but I think his inspiration will be always with us. I'd like to end my tribute to Bettadapura Rangaswamy Sudhir with this. God bless Mr. Sudhir and his family, and God bless the chapter. Thank you.
Thank you, Srini. Thank you for such a wonderful word, and the impression that you have given is amazing, because the foundation has been so strong that today the whole committee is excelling and running this chapter in a great way. Now I request Prakash ji to say a few words, please.
Good evening and Happy New Year to everybody. CA BR Sudhir, CA Neeraj Itolia, all committee members and chief guest Dayanivas Sharma. Thank you to all and welcome you all. Everybody has said good about Sudhir. I knew that everybody will speak and I will not be left with anything to say new. So I tried to find something bad about him. I could not find anything to say anything bad. I could not dig anything out of that. That is the kind of personality Sudhir is. When I joined the chapter, it was initial years for me. And for the first time, because I was the lowest rank in the committee members, when Sudhir became the chairman, first meeting of the committee I attended was in his office. He's so meticulous in his preparation, planning. He does not leave anything for granted. And in so details, I remember one incident during his chairmanship, because all the annual seminars were being taken place in Indian Intercontinental Hotel. 2 days before, the full team went to the hotel stage which side people will be entering, how you will be holding the bouquet, right hand, left hand, how you will be hand over and all those things, how much time it will take to walk and all those things. In such detailed, meticulously planning, I learned it that time. And whenever I met him, he always guided me and I learned new thing from him. He never uttered any irrelevant word. He was always to the point and professional. And that has happened to everybody and with me also. And he's so humble, so soft spoken. As others have said, they have never heard him raising his voice. I also did not had any such chance. I never encountered. And whenever he missed anybody, not to me or everybody, he was so respectful, whether small or big. He is one of the tallest chairmen of the chapter. Chapter had many tall by height, but he is not only by height, by his professionalism and humble. He's so tall in the chapter and his contributions are a lot. I cannot list because most of them have already been listed. And my memory is not as sharp as Srinivas told about Sudhir and his father. So I will take number of days to recollect all. So please forgive me for that, for my shortcomings. I have a lot of them. But one other thing is that we all say that he's retired. He's not retired. One can retire only once one is tired. He's not tired. He's just changing his priority. He's changing his routine. His routine will change. Instead of at workplace, he will devote more time with his parents, on his own health, other socializing. And one thing is, yes, otherwise we would have missed him a lot. Because of technology, we'll not be missing him a lot. Because by technology, we'll be connecting him, seeing him like children see their parents and parents see their children, or video calls. So that distance is now taken away. Earlier, letters used to reach in couple of days or weeks and all those things. So people were waiting for their letters. Now every day you can talk many times, you can see each other many times. So that distance is taken away and we don't miss them so much. Yes, we'll be remembering him more, because when he's not before us, we'll remember his good things. Whatever he has done good thing to us, to chapter, to everybody. So Sudhir, will not be missing you, we'll be remembering you more. And we wish you a good health, good time. Now, because earlier you have spent time for others. Now spend time for yourself and your parents. Wish you good luck, good health, keep in touch and keep guiding us. Thank you all.
Thank you, Prakashji. Now we have come to the conclusion or end of the first session, and I'm thankful to all the past chairmen for taking out time. I request you guys to please remain and attend today's session, which is on technology, and of course we have Dayaji as our chief guest. So now I let our committee member on and introduce the speaker, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CA B.R. Sudhir, for all your valuable contribution and guidance provided to the ICAI Abu Dhabi chapter. Good evening, fellow members, and a warm welcome to today's session on the topic Accountancy Profession, Augmenting Technological Reality and Embracing the Change. It's my pleasure and honor to invite the chief guest of the day, CA Dayanivas Sharma, Central Council member of ICAI, who will be speaking on the topic Role of CA in Emerging Technology. CA Dayanivas Sharma is the managing partner of Lakshmi Nivas and Company, Chartered Accountants, a firm he grew from a 1-member to a 130-member strong firm, and in the process contributing 100 plus CAs to the fraternity. He is also a qualified certified information systems auditor and a certified forensic auditor. CA Dayanivas Sharma has held many roles at the ICAI, including chairman of the peer review board, member of the quality review board, vice chairman of the digital accounting and assurance board, member of UDIN Directorate and Digital Transformation Process Reengineering Group, XBRL India, board member, chairman of Center of Excellence, Hyderabad, to name a few. He has been covered by a coffee table book and recognized as Young India Visionary by IMG Innovative Media Group. He regularly handles sessions and seminars at various forums of ICAI and other national and international forums. Dear members, please join me in welcoming CA Dayanima Sharma to the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anu. And Neeraj, thank you very much for inviting me to Abu Dhabi. Though I have visited multiple times, I request the past chairman just to stay for one moment in honor of Mr. B.R. Sudhir, though I have not interacted with him. But I can actually imagine the quality of professionals which has developed their living being at from a zero base to a level where he is sitting in. Sir, I can only tell you that there are two senior partners in my firm who have lived in Dubai for almost 30 years. And one is Mr. Prem, I don't know anyone knowing him or not, who was the CFO of Iva Music Corporation. And then second was Mr. A.K. Roy, who actually came and guided me here. What I'm trying to tell you, Sudhir sir, is one thing. You all people, senior members, have ensured that the profession is always standing tall in any form, in any eyes, whenever you are visited. The appearance of yours has actually made appearance of CA profession as such. I can only tell you one thing, a nice quote. If you are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. So it's something like, when you are going to come to India, India is going to welcome you back with that love, spirit, and attitude that you can't even imagine. And most importantly, with a folded hand request, as a younger council member, not a council member, as a younger member of this profession, I can only tell you one thing. Your years of experience can add a value to people like me in profession who have started their practice from zero base. So I think the moment you are going to contribute to any nurture, and if you nurture one chartered accountant in India, I think the success of your being there in Dubai and seeing the world across will make whole lot of difference. It is not an end. It is a beginning where you are going to create new things. That's the only request which I have with my folded hands. Please remember, people like me are waiting for senior members like you who can come, mentor, guide, advise, ensure that we all people work in an ethical and a structured manner. You have held the flag on the top in the other country, but when it is going to come back to our country, we have close to 4 lakh chartered accountants. Just imagine, we are going to come out with a new portal when we are going to talk about, we are going to have people who are going to mentor, and there is a mentee program which we are going to start. And might be people, youngsters really will get excited to take your mentorship. And I think it is not going to be a retirement age. It is going to be a second inning which you are going to play for the profession in a very true spirit. So I look forward to welcoming you with both hands open, arms open, thoughts open, because we are going to get one more experienced person. They made difference in my life. I know that what kind of difference you can make in life of many young chartered accountants, And we all can, we are all waiting for such people to come guide, mentor us. So I look forward for your joining back to the profession very soon in India. And just let me know which city, state, town you are going to be there. I'll be the first person to come and take my mentorship from you. It's going to be an honor to learn a lot from a senior member like you who's seen the world across. Trust me, I think the sacrifice you might have made being away from parents, I think it cannot be replaced. The sacrifice you have made being alone cannot be replaced. The sacrifice you have done to grow to a particular position cannot be replaced. But yes, this entire replacement can actually come in a form of satisfaction the moment you hold hands like me, youngsters, who are willing to get motivated and get encouraged in the life to come. So thank you very much for the continuous stint which you played for the first inning, and we are waiting for the second inning to start. So Neeraj, I think you are not saying goodbye to him. Rather, you have given us opportunity to welcome him back to India. and more importantly, to take care about his parents. This is the value which we
Sure,
actually.
Daya, please. So, such a nice word, Daya. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much. So sweet of you. And Sudhir sir, just let me know. I want to listen which city, state, town you are going to be in. So I am going to be the first person to meet you. Unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much for your kind words. I am really honored by what you have said. I do look forward to continuing my interaction. In fact, I am not even going to stop my membership of the Abu Dhabi chapter. I just received the notice for payment of fees today, and I will be paying that, and I will continue to pay that as long as I'm alive. So it goes without saying that I will continue to be active in Bangalore. I'll be in Bangalore, and I will continue to be active there.
I'm going to be, yeah. Yes, so I'm very close to me.
Okay, very good.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to meeting you then. Look forward to meeting.
Positively, sir. I look forward. Neeraj, you can share my number with sir. And one more request I have on this platform today to share with you all people. Neeraj, if you are able to do something good during your chairmanship period, when you have such senior members who are the chairmen of the past, there are a lot of people who are really excited to do a lot of things in life. I know because my life was changed by one single person in Dubai, who is no other person than Abbas Ali Mirza, who held my hands and took me to where I am today. I am indebted to him for many things in life than anything else. So I think there will be lots such people who will be waiting for that opportunities. If you are able to create a kind of mentorship program before you lay your office, I think that will be the biggest thing which you are going to make things happen. Take it from me, seniors' experience and youth speed will take our profession to a different tangent altogether. And today's session is basically nothing but role of CAs in emerging technologies. When you talk about emerging technologies, it is robotic process automation which is there. When you talk about robotic process automation, as Saurabh always says, robotic process automation, robotic and automation is the role of a engineer, but a process is the ownership of a chartered accountant, because we have always understood the process very well, because every process has something attached to it, and that is nothing but the control system or an effective management, effective governance mechanism. Friends, today coming to Abu Dhabi is actually a real pleasure to me to actually come and share my views as not a chief guest, but as opening remarks. I am not a chief guest at any given point in time. When Neeraj calls, he's a brother. I know still he has actually taken me for a dinner also when I was no one. And that days I cannot forget, and I cannot, miss out all those things. Thank you, Neeraj, for always being there, and your love and affection has always been a great spirit, and the way you are doing the work is amazing, and continue to do. Abu Dhabi chapter is one of the important chapters for the institute also. And more importantly, Dubai and Abu Dhabi go hand in hand. And again, I'm going to be, every month I come to Dubai. So I'm coming on 23rd to 27th. I'm going to be in Dubai. So let us catch up again. Coming to you might be difficult, but you can come to meet me. Don't worry.
Sure, there. We'll do that. Definitely there. Thank you so much.
Sorry. And Neeraj ji, thank you very much. Shekhar sir, Krishnan sir, Prakash Chand sir, all you people have been great support. And we have always seen Achar sir, who happens to be his father, and my father happens to be a very good friend. And more importantly, Achar sir's cousin brother, if I'm not wrong, Paddy, is again a very dear friend who's been living in Hyderabad for quite a long time. So whenever I come to Abu Dhabi or Dubai, it doesn't feel like, I'm coming to a different place. I feel like I'm in India only. Now, let me come back to the topic with the start, which I made, experience and speed. If it is going to come together, it's going to make whole, the world is going to change completely. So before I start my discussion, let me just make one statement, because it is Vivekananda's anniversary. He very rightly said, filling the brain with high thoughts, highest ideas, place them day in, day and night before you. An outcome of that will come in great work. Friends, over a period of time, lots of things have changed. But chartered accountant has been that person who is adopted to all kind of changes. We have seen ups and downs. We stood with the management. We stood as a professional to ensure that the businesses go right. Ours is the only profession which sees that a growth of an organization gives a growth to us. We never think negative about any businesses. So this is something which is going to be there. And now the fact is, the topic which is there today, augmenting technology reality and embracing the change, and particularly for me to speak on, is the role of chartered accountant in emerging technologies. Rather, today I can tell you technology is already come, change has already come. We have already accepted the change. There is nothing too far. Only thing is, when you talk about emerging technology, which is artificial intelligence, blockchain, cyber security, data analytics, it is like, Dubai and Abu Dhabi is one of the largest hub with regards to data analytics and blockchain adoption. And today, emerging technologies actually is going to change the entire landscape of the entire profession. Take it from me, whether it is accounting standards, US GAAP, IFRS, whatever we are talking today is not going to stand anywhere. Because from a selective model, we are going to conclusive model. Conclusive model means we were actually taking selection of sample. But because of the technology adoption, what is going to happen is it is going to come in a complete assurance, which is going to be giving 100% guarantee. That means the role of a chartered accountant when it is going to come, because technology is going to actually change the entire perception of the business, the way we are going to look at transaction. Certain transactions were long-term, short-term, all those things are going to change. Auditing methodologies are going to undergo change. And more importantly, I don't know, I request Saurabh to speak on one particular thing, which is the three-way accounting. We heard a single entry accounting. We have heard about double entry accounting. With technology coming in, we are going to have triple entry accounting system, which is going to be an unbelievable fact. Any transaction which is going to be pulled out from a blockchain, it is going to the wall is going to just fall down. A lot of such things are coming in a total different manner. And today I'm very happy to say one thing, which you all will be proud of, is that Institute of Chartered Accountant of England and Wales, which is the oldest institute in the world, right, has come to ICAI to do a research on robotic process automation theory, which are all those companies which have adopted. When we asked them, they said London and UK is way behind, Europe is way behind with regards to adoption of RPA. Can you just imagine? They said that India is a leader in adopting robotic process automation, and they have selected 4 such companies where we have done research jointly for the first time in the history of ICAI, that a foreign body is coming to us and telling that in India there are certain things which have actually which we can't imagine, and we want to do a research paper. And if you have not got Neeraj, I request you to kindly take it from DAB and circulate among all the members a soft copy of the research report which has been done, which is one of the finest report which has come out. Just imagine, they were not able to find 3 such companies in Europe. We had 4 such companies where we had to shortlist and get it. And the kind of reporting which has come out is unimaginable. That means the way India is moving towards adoption of technologies, many other countries have not thought about. The kind of complex transactions which India records, it doesn't actually be, whether it is good or bad, I don't know. But the fact is very simple. We have different kind of thinking, different mentalities, different type of transactions. In UAE, you have a single rated VAT. But whereas in India, it is multiple rated with different kind of HSN codes, different kind of permutation combinations. Just imagine the kind of complex transactions which we are going through. And friends, when we are talking about a chartered accountant who's adopting technology, I think we will be the first people, because we have learned the different laws at different point in time. Different countries we have visited, different laws we have read, different promoters we have worked with. And the most important part is we have always been adaptive. We have always been receptive. We have always been there for the management. We have in form of a CFO or might be in form of a chartered accountant who is supporting them. I don't think we all chartered accountants have to ever fear about what technology is going to do. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for all of us to create a new avenue of the entire process. Senior members like Sudhir sir, the processes are not going to change. I think only the road in which we are going to walk is going to be the same. Whether it was a small road or a big road, actually we have to walk the same road. So thing is, the processes are not going to be different. It's going to be same. It's only going to be driven by a vehicle called technology. This technology is going to get two important aspects. One is going to be a very riskier proposition if we as a chartered accountant do not understand the risk attached to this cyber, technological reforms. And number two, from a chartered accountant, you need to become a cyber accountant. It is very critical now. We need to really understand how this technology is going to transform the thinking process. It is like, every transaction which is going to hit the ledger of a bank, of a company accounts, is going to come through an accounting, through a technological reform. Whether you talk about a Ola Uber in India or any other transaction which is happening in UAE, it's all going to be driven with technology. And the risk attached is something which we need to really assess. Most important part is when we talk about this risk and technology, Neeraj, one more request for you. We have a systems audit examination which is called DISA, which is now we are equating. We have come out with the DISA 3.0, and we are in process of evaluating that entire thing through ANSI, which is American Institute of Standard. This thing. Once that certification happens, our DISA will be equivalent to CISA globally. So that will actually add value to our members at large. Number two is the most important part which I'm talking about is fraud and forensic, which is again going to be one of the most crucial part of a chartered accountant role, which is again going to be related to technology again, because the frauds are actually going to happen through technology transactions only. And today, proudly, I can share you are the first people in the country or the world to know that Council of our institute has cleared forensic accounting investigation standards, which is the world's first institute to come out with a comprehensive standards. No institute in the world has actually come out with forensic standards. Just imagine, this is where our institute is moving. Really, we all have to be proud about what our leadership is doing. Atulji, amazing. Last year, Prafulji, amazing. Going forward, Niharji, again amazing. The way they are looking at things. I'm not talking about the past. They have done their bit at that point in time, what was relevant. And at this point in time, which is relevant, they are doing their best. So today, I'm really fortunate to be the vice chairman of that committee, which has actually come out with the first world forensic standards. Just imagine, we have involved SEBI, we have involved RBI, we have involved C&AG, we have involved all SFIO, all regulators at the country level. And we have actually come out. Can you just imagine that you might have read US GAAP or IFRS, right? Which are in pages together. You will not believe every forensic standard is not more than 3 pages. Just imagine. It is beautifully drafted, considering all the legal aspects. And the best part is, this is going to be a benchmark for the world to start with. And we are the first in the world to come out. So if you talk about RPA research project, which has been done by ICAEW, or a forensic standard, or a DISA certification, just imagine what all we have in our institute. And today this is getting recognized globally and coming out to a level where the only institute in the world which is having 47 chapters, international chapters. Which institute has 47 chapters? That means just imagine where all our chartered accountants have actually reached. I think if we start sharing the knowledge among each other, using this technology itself will take us to a different level. It's the easiest thing. You need not travel. You can get connected. So role of chartered accountant, undoubtedly with regards to artificial intelligence, undoubtedly is going to be there, because the transaction are to be captured in a manner where it is going to do a repetitive process. Number two, when you talk about blockchain, without accountant, blockchain accounting cannot happen. Third, when you talk about cyber security, the risk areas which are going to impact my financials or any other transaction which might result into fraud or any kind of cyber attack, again, without chartered accountant, you cannot assess which is a critical area which is going to impact you badly. And the last, undoubtedly, data analytics, which is again, only thing which chartered accountant plays with is numbers. And today we are actually going ahead and understanding this entire thing. the most important part, as rightly said, the difference between a businessman and a chartered accountant is the word called ethics. I don't want to talk furthermore. Chartered accountant, undoubtedly, the day he becomes a chartered accountant or get into the profession, the first word which is being taught to us is E. So A, B, C, D cannot be completed without E. And we, the chartered accountants, carry that flag of ethics in true sense and ensure that, do the best in the entire system. Out of 4 lakh, if 4 people do wrong, it doesn't matter. It is a part and parcel of life. But if you see, out of 4 lakh, only 4 minus 1 lakh, 3,99,996 people are right. That is where this profession is heading towards. And really, I think examination process, anything you talk about, we have always been at the top. And we have never actually impacted anyone otherwise. So Neeraj, I wish you a great success. Year beginning with the technology will actually take us to a different level. And we should surely do one course on forensic as well as DISA going forward with the Abu Dhabi chapter. Thank you all very much for giving me an opportunity to come and first welcome BR Shetty sir back to India, BR sir to back to India, and connecting with you all people so effectively. Thank you very much. I hope I have not taken much time, but I thought I'll just share my sentiments. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much. And all your points have been noted, and I'll follow up with you soon on that.
Thank you, Neeraj. Dear members, we'll be having 2 technical sessions for the day. The first session, titled Tally Knowledge Series, will be handled by Mr. Raghu SD, the Regional Manager of Tally Solutions Private Limited, UAE. Mr. Raghu holds 10 plus years of comprehensive experience with Tally, and in his tenure with Tally, he has worked on numerous projects that include various big and small implementations. Raghu has been a key resource in structuring the training content for the customer support arm Tally Care. In his tenure, he has conducted hundreds of training sessions and workshops on Tally and has benefited thousands of people. Currently, as the regional manager of UAE and country lead for Kuwait, he is largely responsible for building and leading strategies to achieve Tally's dominance in Kuwait and UAE. Raghu also has profound knowledge of taxation and VAT law in UAE, and he represents Tally in front of local tax authority FTA for software accreditation. The second session of the day on the topic Digital Technology and Transformation will be handled by CA Saurabh Goenka, co-founder and CEO MindMap Digital. Saurabh is a chartered accountant and a digital transformation professional with more than a decade's experience in process automation, process improvement, digital transformation, and strategy leadership. Having worked on multiple process transformation initiatives for large organizations, he helps organizations in scaling and democratizing digital transformation and also shares this knowledge across multiple conferences and industry events on digital transformation. Using his proprietary ROQS framework and more than 20,000 man-hours of strategy and digital transformation consulting, Saurabh is seen as a go-to industry expert for digital transformation. Co-founded by him, MindMap Digital is a bridge between ideas and solutions for all who carry the vision of adopting digital and scaling processes to be truly ready for a global digital economy. Saurabh has also created a very large digital skilling academy in the form of MindMap Learning and is working on an EdTech platform to give access to world-class, affordable, and job-oriented digital skilling ecosystem to at least 1 million users by the year 2022. So let's move to the first session of the day. We welcome Mr. Raghu to the session. Over to you, Mr. Raghu.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction. And we thank you very much for the chapter for giving opportunity to talk about our product. And also on behalf of Tally family, we wish CA BR Sudhir sir all the very best. Okay, we heard about you a lot. It's great to hear about you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So let me start the session. Hope you are able to see the screen.
Yes.
Once again, good evening, everyone. So today's agenda is, so we are going to talk about seamless remote capabilities and safe and secure data access, and Tally Prime for mid-sized businesses, and VAT, UAE VAT, which is for business and for the auditors, how easy it is. And lastly, we have launched our new product Tally Prime November 9th. So we'll talk about new features about this. All these I'm going to cover in the next 30 minutes. If I'm a bit fast, please excuse me. End of the session, we're having a Q&A session. Thank you. So seamless remote capabilities. Tally as an application has inbuilt capability of accessing data remotely. Something but during this COVID situation, if you want or if your clients wants to access their data remotely, so Tally has an inbuilt feature that we are going to demonstrate. Something but Office data can be accessed anywhere you are. It doesn't need any license version to access Office data, as well as you just need an internet connection to connect to the server system to access the data. Not only access, even you can make transactions as well, financial transactions as well. And the second, recently, the new feature which we have provided in Tally is reports on browser. Even if you are want to access a Tally reports on the browser, could be from the laptop or from the mobile, any device you can take, you can access your data instantly. So anywhere, anytime, you can access the data. So that's the new feature we provided. Apart from that, Tally virtual user, on-demand synchronization. These are all the default features of Tally. So Tally virtual user is nothing but you can connect Tally to any third-party application. For example, the big organization may need it to connect with the cloud. So Tally by default, it's an on-premises application. However, based on the need of the customer, so we can even integrate with third-party applications like Windows RDP. Tally can be accessed via Windows RDP, SonicWall, and AWS server, and Microsoft Azure, as well as Google Cloud platforms. So how that can be done, those things we are going to discuss. And the last one is on-demand synchronization. So this is inbuilt feature of Tally. So if client has multiple branch or multiple offices across the globe, so from a single click, the data can be consolidated at the head office, irrespective of the currency they use. Example, in UAE, it's dirham, and in India, it is rupees. Whatever transaction you do in Dubai, that can be synchronized with Indian head office data so that it will be converted into and rupees. So it's an optional. So those things, capabilities are made available in Tally. To start with, I'm going to cover two topics. I'm going to demonstrate that remote access and the reports on browser. So this is the Tally Prime. So we are going to load a company. Once the company is loaded, so we need to do small configuration to connect Tally via browser as well as on the remote. To do that, we need to connect the company. The connect company is simple. Once the company is connected, so from the other end, it's nothing but from the remote end, you can log in to this specific Emirates building material company with the license version, or even you can log into this company with non-license. It's nothing but educational version or trial license. So let me open another Tally. You will get an option as a select remote company. So when you go to select remote company, you can type your username and password. This is the username and password will be given when the Tally license is purchased. You can see here, whichever the company is connected. So you can create or you can enable multiple companies. When you select that, the same company data gets loaded at the remote end as well. The speed as well as the load, it's all based on the internet bandwidth. Okay, so even you can access balance sheet. When you go to balance sheet, whatever data is available at head office, nothing but at the server end, this is the server data. The same data you can replicate here. For example, capital account, if you go to the same data, even you can pause the transactions as well. This is the remote company. Even you can pause the transactions. You can go for an voucher, any financial transaction you can pass. The data get stored on the server. It is just a mirror image on the remote end. Okay. This is with regard to the remote access. And the next one I was talking about with regard to the reports on browser. This is a new feature provided in Tally recently. So it's nothing but, as you are already bought a Tally license version, then you can use your mobile browser or from desktop browser, you can access the report. For example, as this company is connected, either you can go to browser access. This is a simple browser. When you log into the browser using the same credential, so you'll get an option reports, and you can see whichever company you connected, it shows. Currently connected is this. So this is how the same company data you can access. Even you can drill down till the transactions. Not only its view, even you can take a print as well. So print, as well as if you want, you can export this. You can see
Raghu,
here.
I would just want to add a bit here for the benefit of all the members, since there are a lot of auditors also, I believe, who would be helping clients as well. It's pretty important for us to understand the difference between remote access as well as the Tally reports on browser. See, the first allows you to not just access data remotely, but it also allows you to do the entry and check the audit, do the audit, everything you can do from the first option. And as Raghu told you, you do not need to buy a license. Even if you do not have a license, but your clients are having a Tally license, you can always enable your email ID as a remote access user, and you can do the audit, you can pass the transactions, you can view, you can verify, you can do a lot. On the second option, which Raghu demonstrated, which is Tally report on browser, this is a feature which allows you to access reports on the go, irrespective of the device you are using. It could be a laptop, it could be a mobile, it could be a tablet. So you are on the go, and the business owner is on the go, and they just want to quickly see or probably download a invoice or download an outstanding statement and share it with their clients. It definitely eases out on a lot of things. So I think this is one major advantage with browser on the go facility, reports on the browser. Raghu, please continue.
Yeah, thank you. So in this, even you can change the create to view the report, as well as if you want, you can download any report. You can download either in PDF or in Excel. So this is how it shows. So now we'll back to Tally. Next is how safe and secure the data access is. See, the ownership of data. So whatever data you access with regard to remote access or reports on browser, or if it is synchronization also, the ownership data will always remain with you. Only it's a mirror image. So we use, for the transmission, we use 128-bit match security to ensure that the data transfer over the internet is safe. And also it's all data will be in encrypted format, which can be read only by the Tally Prime. And it establishes safe connection with the remote computer using XML over the HTTP. So lastly, this is the facilitator. It doesn't hold the data anywhere. So only the transmission happens through XML over HTTP, and data gets stored on the server only. So on remote end, no data will be get stored. However, the printing, it could be, or it could be an export, all those functionalities will work at the remote place.
And I really want to emphasize a little bit on the first point, Prabhu, if you can go back to the slide. Yeah. So ownership data remains with you all the time. It is a very small statement, but to be honest, it has a real big importance here. Because when you talk about small and medium enterprises, when you talk about the sensitivity of data, we understand this really well. See, the point here is that even when you access things remotely, data is not transferred or it's not being taken from your system to Tally servers. And that's the major advantage, and that's the way we promise the confidentiality of data. Unlike we have been seeing cases of WhatsApp accessing your data, Facebook accessing your data, and those kind of things are could be major trouble for a business owner when they get to know that their data is being accessed by a company. And these are, of course, information which they do not want to share, their balance sheet, profit and loss. So the point here is that even when you do remote access on browser, and when you see the reports on browser, the browser is only showing you, it is connecting you to your own server which are in-house, and it is not connecting you with a cloud server or a server which is in Tally's office. So that's a kind of security mechanism which Tally provides you. That's the crisp and main crux of this particular slide.
Thank you, Brijesh. Thank you. Next, we move to the need of mid-sized businesses. Something about Tally SME. So Tally, we also have a small, medium business, and also mid-sized. It could be a large organization. So the large organization main requirement is user has to be access the data instantly and concurrently. The word concurrent is nothing but multiple users accessing a file or a company or a data continuously. So for that, the main requirement is the load as well as the multiple users simultaneously accessing. So Tally has a product called server. So the server will ensure that easy access of this concurrency seamlessly. And the another requirement of a large organization, it could be a managing a multiple location or group reporting requirement. So these are all things are possible in our server product. And also permission. When it comes to a large organization, data access and security is the major concern. So in our product, so accessing permission, authenticating a user, everything will be on the secure basis. And also each analysis and the monitor usage and the user activities. So Tally has provided a monitoring tool where users activities can be tracked. So how many entries has been passed, how many ledgers has been created, so how many transaction has been printed, exported. So all these, how many time a user has spent on a specific report or a specific activity, all those things can be tracked from this application. And also lastly, the system ensure that it resilient with zero downtime. So all the mid-sized business requirement can be managed with Tally product, that is a Tally server product.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to add a few bit on this, see the reason, and I think we started this session when CA Neeraj Sab, introduced that there are a lot of things which have changed. As a product, as a company, we have evolved over 30 years. And we are no longer the same accounting software, Tally, which we are today, which we were 30 years ago. So we are not the same accounting software anymore. We are not just meant for small organizations, and that's what we are trying to emphasize here with our few points. And these are some of the important factors when you talk about addressing the needs of the medium-sized companies and not just small-sized companies. One very important thing, and we've come across this requirement too many times, is that users want to have too many people accessing Tally from same office simultaneously. So for small companies, 4 people, 3 people using Tally was never a concern. But when it goes to 40 people, 50 people, can I really do that seamlessly, effortlessly? And the answer is that now you do not have to depend only on Tally Prime, which is one product which offers you all these features. But for a mid-sized company, you have got a combo pack, Tally Prime along with the Tally server, which makes sure that, a mid-sized company do not have to invest in their IT infrastructure of, say, 100,000, 200,000 amount of money. They can use Tally Prime, they can use a Tally server along with Tally Prime, and it can go really well, considering their security requirements, considering their monitoring requirements, considering their access requirements, permission requirements, ensuring that there's zero downtime. And of course, with server comes a lot of specialized support, which our team offers. So this is one big announcement, that Tally Prime along with server is definitely ready for mid-sized companies as well.
Okay, thank you. And next, we'll move to VAT. So as you know, UAE has introduced VAT from 2018. So Tally has provided all required features as well as the reports required by the FTA. So we are going to have a discussion as well as demonstration on configuring VAT and file return, as well as VAT compliant bilingual invoice, so English with Arabic, and how Tally is helping users to prevent the error, and if it is detected, how it can be corrected with ease. And always we'll ensure that any changes made by FTA is incorporated immediately in the product, and will ensure that it will be launched immediately. So that's what we are going to have a demo with regard to VAT. To start with, so Tally has a few logics we used for calculating VAT as well as applicability. For example, there are many scenarios in the business where you will export the goods as well as you will import the goods, correct? So while importing or export, it's a VAT need not to be calculated. It's nothing but it's a zero rated. If it is a local purchase or local sales, then VAT has to be calculated. And if it is an intra-GCC, it's nothing but if you are buying goods, or if your clients are buying goods from Bahrain or Saudi Arabia, their VAT implemented GCC countries where you need to calculate the VAT. So how this complexity has been managed in Tally, that we are going to have a small demonstrations. For example, when you are creating a ledger, when you are creating a party ledger, so based on the location, if it is a UAE, then if your company is created in UAE as well as the supplier or a customer is in UAE, then system understands that if both are present in UAE, then it's a local sales. If you change the country here, for example, if you change the country to India or United Kingdom or whatever, then when you are doing any sales transaction, system understand that you are doing an export transaction. Similarly, if you are importing, then if the country is different outside UAE, then system understand that you are doing an import transactions. So with that, all those VAT details also we have provided. So when you do any transaction, so let me take you through the transaction, which we already captured here. So here is the domestic taxable supply. When you hit enter, it shows in 3 dimensions. One is this is invoice weight. Similarly, we have other options called inventory weight. Nothing but which inventory for the specific period there are transactions happen. So when you go to end, when you drill down to the specific transactions, voucher level, then you can see this the sales transaction made to SG Infotech, the VAT has been calculated. When you go for and print, with regard to the invoice print, when you go for and print, the configuration we have given here. So user can configure which option need to be printed, which option need not to be. Then they can go for print. If you print, by default, it will print with English. If you want, you can change to bilingual, something but English with Arabic. Tally has given a facility to create masters as well as transactions, even numeric number in Arabic. So you can create masters in Arabic and you can pass transaction. Both you can manage English with Arabic also you can manage. So this is the default format we provided. So recently we have made changes in one format. So the current one I'm using is invoice format 2. When you go to invoice format 1, this is another format we have provided, where the VAT will be calculated and shown here. If you change to form 2, all those details will be shown in the bottom of the invoice. This is with regard to the tax invoice. So next one is prevention. We are talking about prevention. When you are doing a transaction, let me pass on sales transaction. I'm doing a sales transaction. When you're doing a transaction, I'll select quantity, and purposefully, if I try to remove the VAT ledger, you can see here, when I'm trying to remove the VAT ledger, system will give an alert saying that party TRN not selected. Okay, so when you go for an save, and if you print also without the tax detail, when you go to an report, when you go to VAT report, VAT TRN, all those errors will get captured here. Uncertain transactions, correction needed. This is nothing but we are alerting user that before filing the return, you need to ensure that these transactions are rectified and it has to be made 0. Then those transactions will be participated in the return. So when you hit enter, here is the one for what reason this has been captured here. When you open any transaction, it shows. Let me explain this here. So taxable amount is 2,02,000. However, as per the calculation, it's supposed to be 10,100 need to be calculated. But as per the calculation, it is 10,001. As per the transaction, it is blank. It's nothing but in this transaction, the VAT is not selected by the user. So to rectify that, select this and you can go for a resolve. You need to select the VAT ledger and you can click on recompute. Then the VAT will be computed. And when you accept, that specific transaction will be disappeared. You can see here it was 6. Now it has become 5. That transaction will be part of the return. So not only specific to retention, even we have also provided import and export reports as well. So if it is an import, when you go for a reverse charge, there are 3 criteria of transaction get captured under reverse charge. One is purchase made from a designated zone, something but from free zone. If it is mainland, that goods are getting transferred from free zone to mainland, those things need to be captured under RCM, reverse charge. And another one is importing from outside UAE. So for example, from importing from US or India, then those transactions has to be captured. And the last one is, as I already informed, GCC countries. When the import is happening from GCC countries where VAT is implemented, all those information get captured here. From here, by passing a stock journal entry, so here we are capturing total how much is the import taxable and how much liability need to be booked. From here, need to pass a stock journal voucher and then you can book the liabilities. Later, those will be part of the return. When you go to return, here it is showing a detailed return. Even we provided print of the same when you go for an export return form. So this will be as required by the FTA. So let me show you. The report will be get captured in the telefolder in the PDF format. So user has to take these values and they need to log into FTA site and fill the details. So currently FTA has not made provision to capture the values directly in the portal. So hence Tally has provided in PDF. This can be captured in the online form. So this is with regard to VAT. And any changes, any FTA has made any changes in the tax also, immediately Tally will proactively provide those as through any new releases. And the next Our topic is, as we told, recently we have launched Tally Prime in the month of November. So let me talk about the Tally Prime. So the key anchor is nothing but our objective is main is simplify the simplicity. Nothing but Tally ERP, our previous product was power of simplicity. So now that we are simplifying further and greater flexibility is nothing but user can now do multitasking thing from Tally Prime onwards. And a fresh look and feel, you might have already experienced Tally ERP9. So in the Tally Prime, it's a fresh look and the feel, so that we are going to have a discussion. So what is the changes we have done in Tally Prime? To start with, there are new terminologies we have used in Tally Prime. However, we ensure that existing users navigation is not changed. Only we have made very intuitive. So the new terminologies, it could be a change mode, or it could be we have provided right button, more detail, and active, inactive, go to, switch to. These are all the new terminologies we use. And briefly, I will take you through.
Raghu, I'm sorry, because of
Yeah.
lack of time, will not be able to touch upon the features of Tally Prime. But yes, what we would do is that you all can see there are a lot of features which are, a lot of enhancements, a lot of new introductory features we have provided with Tally Prime. And we really want you to experience, what's changed, what's new with our new product. There are two ways to do that. People who are interested to explore it on themselves, we have a free trial facility available, and you can always reach out to us, me or Raghu. You can dial any of us, or just we'll share our contact details also. Otherwise, the second thing what we are planning to do is, for the members of ICI Abu Dhabi, we can always conduct a workshop to have a detailed session only to talk about the features which are newly introduced in Tally Prime, which were not part of Tally ERP9 earlier, because this itself requires almost an hour of session. And we will check with the chairman, Neeraj ji, that if there are enough people interested to explore this, we can definitely arrange a workshop and do this independently for you all. For now, there is a great news which I want to share with you. Raghu, if you can just move to the next slide. So we realize, that, a lot of us have seen that last 15 years, we've been there in Middle East, and in India, it's been 3 decades for us to be there. And we have been in association with ICI India for more than 3 decades now. And we've been in association with Abu Dhabi chapter for quite some time now. But in the last 1.5 decade, we have never been able to introduce something which can be, commercially beneficial for the members. This is the first time in 15 years that we have decided to, offer similar kind of benefits that we have for India chapter to the Abu Dhabi chapter also. And here it is for all of you. It's a multi-user license, which we call Auditor Edition. It's a limited time offer. As you all can see, it is valid till 31st March. And if you all know, the price of a multi-user license actually is 7,020 dirhams plus VAT, which comes around, 7,500 or so. Here, if you see, this particular Auditor Edition is available only roughly at 10% price, which is 90% discount, you can say roughly. But yes, there are some important things to know about this. First, that this is an annual subscription license. It's not a perpetual license for lifetime. However, if I'm a CA and if I have to compare both the SKUs, one a multi-user for lifetime and one annual subscription for of multi-user, then I would look at it like this: 7,000 one-time investment, and then every year to renew the subscription or to stay updated with the same multi-user license, I have to pay additional 1,500 dirhams or so. But here in the annual subscription, only I have to pay 780 dirhams, and every year I have to pay only 780 dirhams. There is no requirement for you to renew or upgrade. With the same 780 dirhams, everything will be available for the auditors. So that's great news from our end. And I'll quickly touch upon the benefits of this model also. So Raghu, if you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So as I told you, you don't have to subscribe every year. This offer comes with the bundle. So you get a license, you get a free subscription for the whole year. You get a free training, and your team also. If you are an audit firm and you have your people working on Tally Prime, we will arrange training for both of them. Free installation and first time setup will also be done free of cost, and there will be a dedicated account manager who will take care of you. And this is none other than a certified Tally partner. So there are a lot of partners, or there are a lot of people, I should say, who are into selling of Tally. We want to make sure that you get the best of the experience, since you are, close member of CA fraternity, you are members of ICI. We want to ensure you get the best experience, and of course, a free online support on all the working days. So if you are interested, if you want to register for this offer, this is a limited time offer, but you have a QR code there on your screen. You can scan the QR code and fill up a small form, and we can get in touch with you and proceed with the request. So this is it from my end, and Raghu, you can conclude. We can go to the question answers.
Thank you, Priyesh and Raghu, for your wonderful session, and also sharing the for the association with the institute and also with our chapter. I really hope that your offer will be beneficial to our members and they find interest in it and will contact you. In the interest of time, we will not be taking Q&A now, and we may take at the end of the whole session. Once again, thank you, and let me welcome our next speaker for the evening, C.S. Saurabh Goenka. In this session, he will be going to touch briefly upon Industry 4.0 and the wave of digital transformation, key technologies that will shape the future of finance. He will help us to understand the RPA as a key core technology for automation and in finance, and also the future of CA professionals in digital transformation, and also to embrace the change. C.S. Saurabh Goenka.
Hi, Shafiq, how are you doing?
Yep, all good. Please, over to you.
Thank you. Let me just quickly start sharing my screen. And yep, here we come. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for kind of calling me here today to share some of my knowledge with you. And I know that we are just a little bit late in the session, and I'll keep it brief and limited to under 60 minutes. So just a little bit about myself. I'm a chartered accountant, and I've spent most of my life in digital transformation. I've worked with Fortune 500 organizations in designing their digital transformation journey. And I lead a business for Mindmap Consulting, where we are based out of India, and we help organizations in automating their processes and transforming businesses. Today, I want to broadly talk about what, as Shafiq also mentioned, this whole wave of Industry 4.0 and what this digital transformation is and how is it affecting the world of finance, right? And again, as Daya sir also was mentioning in the beginning, that robotics process automation is really a key technology today, which is shaping a lot of these things, right? So I want to spend most of my time today in helping you understand and visualize what RPA is as a technology. I'm going to give you examples of how RPA can be used in the world of finance and accounts. I'll actually show you some bots in action in terms of how they actually work and automate accounting and some of these other things. And then I will also get into some other technologies apart from RPA, which impact the CA profession. And then I'm going to spend a little bit of time in terms of discussing that if you were to move on from here and then take some of these technologies to your business, to your practice, to your profession, whether you're working somewhere as a financial controller or a treasurer or an FP&A, or if you have your own practice, and if you want to offer some of these things to your customers, then how can you create a roadmap for yourself? And then, of course, we'll be with Finance of the Future. And, of course, all of you guys might be muted for the entire session. However, to make it more interactive, even though we've got some time slotted specifically for Q&As towards the end, please feel free to put in your questions in the chat box, which is provided to you. And I'm going to refer to the chat box every now and then and see if you guys have any questions. I will answer them on the fly. So I would really, really request if we can keep it interactive. If you have any questions at any point of time, the intention, of course, here is for me to make it as lucid as possible, for us to all imagine what some of these technologies are and how can you get started with it, right? So before I get started, I kind of always start with this big bold statement which says that the world is changing and intelligence is leading that change, right? Now, it's not new, right? The world has always changed. When has the world not changed? But what's really different about this change is the pace at which this change is happening, right? The way change used to happen earlier, the pace at which it used to happen, and the pace at which it is happening today, it is entirely different. And hence, if we do not keep up with that pace, it becomes difficult for us to imagine what the future might look like, right? So let me put that in perspective across a timeline of, let's say, a period from the 1400s and look at a roadmap a little ahead till 2050. And if I were to plot a graph which shows the pace at which technology has changed, that graph is going to look something like this, right? Where you've kind of grown linearly from the 1400s to somewhere around the 1800s, and then you kind of took off, like a rocket ship, right? And let me just put this into a little bit more perspective. Now, all of us have heard about these things called the industrial revolutions, right? Now, there has been many industrial revolutions. The definition of a revolution is that when it takes place, it significantly changes the way you do things. Now, between the period of 1400s to 1750s, you basically had three major inventions out there. There was the printing press, the telescope, and the steam engine. Now, my question to you, and something which you should ponder about, is this. The moment you have a steam engine invented, are you still going to have people who will ride on horsebacks from point A to point B? And the answer is no. So whenever technology comes in, a disruptive technology comes in, the change it creates is lasting and permanent, right? So it took about 350 odd years from the printing press to the steam engine. Then you move on to the next era where, your span in which your major inventions are coming through, it's shortening. Within the next 100 years, you have the disruptive technologies like electricity and the telephone. And then, of course, very soon you had the car, the television, and the PC. Now, in the 1950s, when the first PC was discovered, that was basically the inflection point. That's the point when humanity really took off towards technology. And then within the next very, very short span of time of less than 50 years, from the first computers to mobile phones to microprocessors, the moment you have microprocessors and mobile phones, the next wave is just less than 20 years, which is the digital era, and you have technologies like Facebook, Google, analytics, augmented reality, driverless cars, artificial intelligence, and all of these different things. Now, this entire era where we are today, where you've got so many smart technologies, which basically, dictate and define the way we live, this is Industry 4.0, where Industry 4.0 is basically, connected technologies, which are technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, analytics, blockchain, automation, driverless cars, augmented reality, virtual reality, so on and so forth. And it shows the impact of all of this in whatever we do, right? So let's shrink this timeline a little bit further. Let's forget the era of the steam engines. And if we look at the wave just from 1900s to 2050, I want to spend about a couple of minutes in talking about how business really changed in this era, right? So as you move ahead, as you move up on this chart, it means that business was aiming for lower cost and better efficiency, right? So all of us remember somewhere between the 1900s and 1950s, most businesses were focused on core operations, right? What were some of the biggest industries or biggest organizations in this era? If you asked a new CA or somebody, where do you want to join? They'll be like, hey, I want to join a steel manufacturing giant or a manufacturing giant or General Electric or General Motors. The focus was, how do I optimize my core business, right? And then there came a point of time when most of these people had their core businesses figured out. And then came the whole IT transformation wave, where they said, look, now that I have my core business figured out, unless I store my information better, unless I systematize myself better, I'm going to not be able to scale. And to solve the problem of scalability, you had the entire wave of ERPs, ID transformation, ID management, so on and so forth. And then somewhere in 2000s, in the 20th and 21st century, organizations realized, specifically organizations in the first world countries, that look, you know what, we've optimized business, we've got the best IT, but we're still operating at a cost which is not feasible. And then you have so many people in second world and third world countries who can do the same amount of work at a much lesser cost. And that's how the whole, the BPO, business process management and outsourcing industry kind of grew, right? And today we're at a stage where the BPO and the process outsourcing engine is also really mature. So you've got all these really big businesses who've outsourced their processes to people in countries like India, South Africa, Philippines, and some other third world countries. And then within these countries also, it's not enough for them, right? Because business always wants to operate at a better cost and better efficiency and things like that. Now, that is the premise and the need based on which Industry 4.0 was born, right? And today you have this need for automated cognitive and intelligent processes, which means that how much of your processes, which are rule-based, can they run by itself? Now, all of us being chartered accountants here, we know that accounting is rule-based. We know that reporting is rule-based. We know that so much that we do, there are a lot of areas where advisory and judgment is required. And then there are a lot of areas where it's entirely rule-based. Now, the premise of Industry 4.0 is if something is transactional and rule-based, why should somebody spend money in doing those things and why should it not be automated, right? And hence, to cater to that, you've got all of these technologies like robotics process automation, machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, the Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality, so on and so forth, right? And I just wanted to quickly give you a glimpse of how did we reach here, right? So one, what is happening is there is so much technology available. Now, the technology which you have in your cell phone today, in a single cell phone, is more powerful than all of the earlier supercomputers combined. And this change has taken place in over, just less than 100 years. That's the pace of change which I'm talking about, right? And the need of businesses to be even more cost efficient, even more customer centric, even more efficient in doing the transactions and better customer satisfaction and things like that has led to the need of these kind of processes, right? So let's spend a little bit more time in contextualizing this a little better to finance. And this is where I'm going to get a little bit more contextual and I'm going to talk about how is this transformation affecting finance, right? So, as part of the work which I do with organizations, I have audience with CIOs and CFOs. And based on what I've been seeing in the past couple of quarters, this is a summary of what we've been seeing as the biggest trends in the world of finance, right? So what are the expectations which CFOs have from finance? Number one, more than 90% automation of transactional finance and accounting, right? So what is transactional finance and accounting? Things like reconciliations, accounts payable, accounts receivable, everything which is rule-based. People want all of them to be automated, right? More analytics and visual dashboards than data. People are not really keen of looking at data tables. Now, if you're a CFO and if you want to know how's your sales projections been for a particular customer, you don't want your MIS guy or your finance guy to send you a table saying that, look, this is how it is. But he wants to speak into his phone and say, hey, Siri, tell me how has account X performed over whatever couple of quarters or something. So there's a big trend of more visual dashboards and analytics than data. There's a big trend of moving to faster book closing and lesser time to publish results. Most controllership functions, and if I have any controllers here, they'll agree with me. Earlier, we used to close books of accounts after 7 days, 8 days, 10 days off, and even 15 days after your closure of your financials. Today, the pressure is to close this in 3 days, 4 days, 2 days, or 1 day. So this gets possible if you automate a lot of transactional things at the back end. Similarly, the world is becoming more and more complex from a compliance perspective. You've got these regulations like the GDPR, privacy regulations, and so many others there. And now that you've got the blockchains of the world and so many complicated technologies, there's going to be more and more compliance around it. So something which takes your compliances and makes them bulletproof. automated and cloud integrated reporting systems. Everything is moving to the cloud. Everything is getting automated from an integration perspective. So however much of your portfolio you can automate and move to the cloud. Analytics and AI-driven audit mechanisms, and no more random sampling. So all of us who are there in audit here, I've actually published a couple of papers on how technology is transforming audit. It's also been published in one of the CA journals. If somebody's interested, I can share a link later. But what's happening right now is that your core premise principles where you used to do random sampling is going to go away very, very soon. What the world of accountants and finance has discovered is that if somebody wants to do a financial fraud, they hide it in plain sight, right? They hide it in your layers of transactions, and you don't seem to find it unless you do a thorough analysis of all transactions. So random sampling is going to go away. Similarly, you're going to have reporting integration with smart assistants. And in a nutshell, the finance professional of the future will have no choice but to be extremely well versed with digital technologies to meet these needs. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, what? I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a finance professional. All of this sounds too much technology, and I don't know if I can do this. It's too much technology. That's the first thing which kind of pops into your mind. And that's where I want to introduce this technology of robotics process automation. So RPA is a technology which simplifies and enables automation using predefined templates, workflows, and rules. Okay. Now, at this point, let me tell you that what has significantly changed in the world of technology. Now, if you remember how transformation used to happen a couple of decades earlier from today, if somebody said, I'm an organization, I want to do large transformation in finance, and people used to be like, hey, you know what, are you implementing an SAP or an Oracle or some of these large ERPs? And it used to be a huge systems integration effort where you needed to procure these data centers, migrate all your data, install your packages, train a bunch of people, spend a few couple of $1 million, and it's a huge jing bang. Today, some of these technologies are as simple, and I'm going to show you some of this today itself, as simple as downloading a 100 megabyte file from the internet, installing it, configuring and getting it started. It's automation technologies are as simple and as nimble as that, right? So RPA, or robotics process automation, is considered as one of the easiest, quickest, and the most cost-effective technologies to automate the world of finance and accounting. And, at the very outset, I want to tell you that this is not physical robots. These are software bots. So imagine that if a human user or if a human being does something on your computer in terms of, let's say, he's copying data from 5 files, putting it in a particular place, combining them into a report and sending it forward, things like that. Now, RPA can do all of that much more quickly, much more efficiently. So it's a software bot. It's not really a physical robot. Before I kind of move further, I'm going to show you what an actual RPA bot looks like. So let me see if I still have the video there. Okay, so here is a video of what an actual RPA bot looks like. I'm going to play this video for you. And once you've seen this video, I'm going to come back. But basically what you'll see is a bot working with multiple different applications at the same time and how it automates a piece of process, right? So let me play this video for you. And once we are done, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it.
In the next example, our robot will work with 7 applications at once: Excel, Word, PDF, email, SAP, terminals, and Salesforce. The Excel file contains the name, email, SAP number, and an individual code for each person. The robot will first read this data, then open the terminal, input each person's code, and get all the data from the terminal. The emails from the CSV will be input into Salesforce to find every employee, and then the expense data from the terminal will be added into the expense row. After this, the robot will create a Word document from a template with a status report for each person. The Word file will then be converted to PDF and sent as an email attachment. Finally, the robot will find the employee's position in SAP and with all of the above data will populate the Excel file used in the beginning. Now, let's start the robot and explain the process in more detail. The robot will start by opening the terminal, Salesforce and SAP, and by logging into all three systems, preparing all the applications it will work with. It will browse the pages of the terminal and find the ID of the first employee. Then identify the same person in Salesforce based on their email address. The expenses are then added in Expense IT, the Word template filled in, converted to PDF, and sent as an email attachment. The robot then finds the position of the person in SAP, then moves on to the second person, looking for the ID in the terminal. After collecting the data, the robot sees that Salesforce does not display an account for Joan, so it creates one. After doing this, it fills the expenses on Joan's account, creates the Word document, converts it to PDF, and sends it as an email attachment. Then the robot moves on to the third person, and so on. Fast forwarding, we can see that all the data is completed in the Excel file for each person, and the emails for each person are sent with a PDF attachment.
So now that we've seen the video, one very, very simple question I want to ask you. And of course, some of you can share your views with me in the chat. Now, whatever you just saw, don't you think that there are lots and lots of things which we do in our professional lives, which are just like this? You're moving data from one place to other. And if you think at an enterprise scale, think of your customer who's doing accounting or invoice processing, where individuals are picking up every single invoice, reading data from it, the data entry operator which enters that information, then you do a lot of process to automate all that. All of these things, we've got organizations, they are automating it end to end using technologies like RPA. Now here's the fun part. What if I told you that if you invested something like an hour or an hour and a half time for 3 days a week, then you could learn how to do this free of cost in say 4 to 5 weeks. And this application or this sequence of automation which you saw here, what if I told you if this entire sequence of automation, it just takes maybe a day or 2 days to build this? And what if I told you, I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not here for any motivational talk. This is the hardcore reality of how organizations are doing transformation today, right? So that's an example of what RPA does and how does it work. Now, there are many different tools within the RPA world which can do this. I'm going to talk about some of them in a bit. But this particular tool is a tool called UiPath. It's the leading RPA tool currently in the industry. And, just wanted to share that with you. Now, here's another video. I'm not going to play the whole video in the interest of time, but this is basically a competition which was done, somewhere where they put Deloitte put 4 of their best accountants against a bot to process certain number of invoices, and I think, yeah. So let me play from here, and you can read the annotations because this is not in English.
Plan die robots even hard in te maken.
Hoe gaat het, mannen?
Het gaat heel goed.
Hoeveel van deze dossiers heb je al gedaan?
Ik heb nu net de 31ste factuur verstuurd.
31 facturen al. Jij?
Ja, ik heb een iets moeilijker pakket gekregen, denk ik. Ik zit op 23.
Wat zien we nou eigenlijk? Wat gebeurt er op dit moment?
Er is een Excel-bestand, heeft de robot ingelezen. En al die variabelen trekt hij uit het Excel-bestand, zet hij hier in de velden. Het wordt heel snel gegenereerd en ingezet. Veel sneller dan een persoon dat zou kunnen doen.
Ja, zo snel kan niemand tikken, ja?
Wordt hier de invoice gecreëerd. PDF-bestand slaat de robot op en hij gaat door naar de volgende rij in het Excel-bestand.
Volgens mij hadden de 3 werkstudenten gezamenlijk 129 facturen gemaakt in een klein uur tijd. En de robot had er 192 in zijn eentje.
So the three students did 129 invoices. for about in a period of 3 to 4 hours, the robot did about 192 on its own, right? So that is the potential and the power. And there are many examples like this. So just coming back, what is RPA? So just as industrial robots, right? We in the very beginning we spoke about industrial automation and industrial revolution and things like that. And there was a big wave when you had these printing presses and large manufacturing facilities and machine-driven facilities which came in. And these facilities, just like they transformed the manufacturing industry by improving production rates and quality and things like that. That same revolution is being seen today as RPA robots or virtual bots are revolutionizing the way we think about and administer business processes. So it lets organizations automate all the tasks as if a real person was doing it across applications and systems. And just to spend a little bit more time about it to debunk some of the myths, a lot of people think that these are physical robots. They are not physical robots, they are virtual bots. This kind of a technology is not there only for high volume operations. You can also have some sensitive information or compliance, or something where if you miss the timeline of submitting a particular report, there's a penalty involved with it, and there are many such use cases. So this is not just for transaction which is high in volume. As I was mentioning earlier, this is not a large IT integration project. You do not need to invest a lot of money. It's also much more inexpensive as compared to some of the other transformation tools out there. And there's a big trend right now where people say that bots are going to take away my jobs. And I'm going to be honest with you. Just like we saw when we were looking at that curve of industrial transformation and automation and how the world changed, the moment you have a computer, you're not going to do journal entries on a piece of book. It just doesn't work. Similarly, if you have bots which can do a lot of things automated and more efficient, organizations or individuals or even yourself after some point of time, you are not going to do it manually, right? You are going to let the automation do this. So there is going to be a lot of scenario where transactional repetitive processes are going to move away. But that is where, as Dayaneva Sharma was also saying, the true value and the true potential of what a chartered accountant can really bring to the table, it falls through, right? Where your advisory, your consulting, and I've got so many CAs who've started becoming architects of such automation solutions because organizations, if they want to automate finance, they don't do it themselves. They can't do it themselves. They need somebody who understands finance to do it with them, right? So in a nutshell, it works together with humans. It doesn't, replace humans. And what's really important from a financials and an ROI perspective is that it can self-fund itself in as less as 3 months. In most of the implementations which I have done, we have seen organizations recovering the total cost of investment in as less as even 12 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, and that's where you recover the entire cost of it, right? So it is faster by more than 2 times. It is cheaper, accurate. It reduces your operating expenses by almost 20%. It's non-intrusive. It reduces the human efforts by about 20 to 50%, and it's got all of these wonderful benefits. Now you might be asking that what processes should I choose for automation? And before I move to that, there's a question from CA Prakash Mehta saying many applications do not allow robots to work and asks to put codes or check images or complete puzzles to confirm I'm not a robot. How do you overcome it? So, beautiful question from CA Prakash. What you're referring to here is basically CAPTCHA, right? And the reason CAPTCHA is put is so that you can't have bots doing it. Now think of it like this. Suppose if somebody tried to hack into the, your GST, your website where you post your GST returns. Now, some places are really sensitive where you do not want bots to operate. If you live in a world where you have RPA bots and things like that, you have a strong risk associated with it. So it's a risk aversion mechanism. So places where you have CAPTCHA, CA Prakash, they are not supposed to be navigated with bots. But typically bots are used in scenarios in your day-to-day business transactions. Let's say that every month you have to prepare a report by downloading some data from Tally or from some other ERP systems, massaging that data, creating graphs and charts, creating 20 different versions of it, sending it to users over email and things like that. So some of these kind of things is something which you can really automate, right? And thank you for the question. Now, and guys, please feel free to drop in your questions. I'll be tackling it the moment it comes in. Now, what processes are the best candidates for automation, right? If you want to get started, and how do you identify that which processes are automatable or worthy of automation? Well, the first rule is something which is highly manual and repetitive, it's very easily automatable. So if something is a manual process where you need to do manual efforts in automating, in performing that process, it's repetitive, it is rule-based, go for it, right? So for example, again, coming back to the example of invoice processing, most of it is entirely rule-based. Coming to an example of reconciliations, it is rule-based. But if for example, you want to automate, let's say your KYC screening, right? It's rule-based. In fact, most of your KYC screening applications are working in the backend using bots and things like that. Now, processes which have a low exception rate, which means that you don't really get lots of exceptions to the standard processing way, it's better to do that. Processes with standard readable electronic input type. Now, a big part of automation in the world of finance is picking up information from documents, or intelligent document processing as it is also known, right? Using technologies like optical character recognition, OCR, and things like that. So if you work with documents which are computer generated, which is the meaning of standard readable electronic input type, that's also a very good candidate for automation. I'm going to show you some examples again. Things which have high volumes are also good. Do not pick up processes which have a changeable processing method or a system change involved. And pick up processes which are more mature and stable, right? So these are some of the ways of identifying which processes are the best fit for automation. Coming to some of the different tools which you can use for automation, as I said, there are many different tools out there. If you wanted to learn this technology, of course, my intention today is just to make you aware that this exists, give you some examples and use cases from the world of finance. And if you feel that this is something which can be taken up, there are lots of different RPA vendors out there. This is a comparison from one of my favorite research organizations, HFS. And there are two important RPA tools which I personally want to make special mention of, which one is UiPath, and the other one is this tool called Automation Anywhere. If you guys want, you can take down the name of both UiPath and Automation Anywhere. And of course, I'll be sharing a copy of this presentation with the panel. And if Shafiq, if any participants want, you can circulate a copy of this to them. If anybody is interested in learning automation, you can just go to their website. They have academies which are free of cost. You can go there and get started with it. So there are lots of different RPA vendors you can get started with. There is usually a decision in terms of when do you use which RPA tool and things like that, but that's a little bit more technical. Let's not get into it. Most of your standard use cases you can do using any of these tools. And then how do you typically go about executing an RPA project and architecting an RPA project, right? The first step is identification. Identify a business process. Then you select the transactions to be automated. So you don't want to automate everything. You select what you want to automate. After that, you conduct something which is known as an impact assessment, which means if I automate this particular transaction or this sequence of activities, is it going to have any impact on any other processes, a downstream impact or an upstream impact? So you do a risk assessment there. After which you create something which is called a level 3 process mapping. Now, a level 3 process mapping basically means you detail out the steps of that process as a human does usually as a human perform these activities. After which, of course, you do the entire automation, you build the whole automation program. And one thing which I want to tell you here is this entire application and this world of RPA, there is very little coding involved. It's a world where you don't need to work with coding. You need to drag and drop your elements, and there are templates which are there which can help you in creating automation. So it frees somebody who comes from a functional background, right? People like you and me, where we can ourselves use this technology. This technology, today has given a lot of power in the hand of functional experts, right? So if we are experts in finance, we know what are the sets of rules and logic which you can use to automate processes. So you can just implement that using user interface or UI. You don't need to do a lot of coding, right? Then of course, once you've done it, you test it and you roll it out. I have a couple of questions. I think Mohan Das says, having discussed about the RP and other imminent technology innovation, what would the CV of a future chartered accountant look like? Do you think it would change from exposure in Excel, Word, and accounting system to exposure in RPA, AI, Power BI, etc.? First of all, Mohanji, I'm really happy to see you here. Mohanji himself is a great visionary, and he really works with technology as well. And you're right there. A lot of job roles have popped up today which did not exist earlier. And that's because, for example, something like RPA, you wouldn't have even heard about it a couple of years back. But today, RPA is one of the most popular jobs out there. So, people who are like blockchain accounting experts, or people who are like, cyber auditing experts, cyber security risk auditing experts, or, people who are specialists in hyper automation, finance hyper automation specialists, so on and so forth. CA Prakash Mehta again asked, how can it help in auditing process? There are multiple ways, when you're auditing, first of all, as I mentioned, you can do away with random sampling. You can create RPA-based programs which can pre-integrate with your core accounting systems, right? So typically in auditing, the challenge has been that auditing is a periodic thing, right? If you want to make it perpetual, integrate RPA-based systems in the core bookkeeping software and packages which are there. It can at the back end continuously analyze data and give you exception reports. That's one. Second, wherever you need to work with a lot of data, it can automate you going through that data, and there are lots of different use cases out there. But again, once again, thanks for your question, right? So we were talking about how do you typically do and roll out an RPA project, and now the intention primarily again here for me is to help you understand. Okay, by now what you understand is there is this technology called RPA. You've seen it in action. You've seen that it navigates through various screens, it automates various flows and things like that. And you've seen that there are these various tools. That, Saurabh says it's not a very technology heavy, coding heavy platform. So it makes sense. We've also seen typically what are the characteristics of the processes which we can automate. Now let me take you through a very interesting graphic which tells you what processes should I automate within finance and accounting, right? So here is, we do a lot of work with our customers in the automation space, and we've created something which is called the F&A opportunities heat map, right? Now what this does is that it breaks down finance into transactional F&A processes, specialist corporate finance rules, right? Within transactional F&A processes, you've got procure to pay, order to cash, and record to report. And in specialist corporate finance roles, you've got FP&A, treasury, taxation, legal, and audit. And the previous question of what are the areas within audit which can be automated, it will also be covered here. So I just wanted to create this one slide where you can see that within all of these different functions of finance, typically which are those areas which organizations are automating, right? And to do that, I'm going to color code this into 4 colors. Whatever you see as this green is high automation potential. Whatever you see as this dark blue is medium automation potential. Then you've got low and very low automation potential, right? And then, within procure to pay, you've got things like right from the moment you receive an invoice to scanning and indexing to invoice processing, approval, so on and so forth. You can see that in the industry today, in the world of finance today, where people are already dabbling with technology, which one of these areas are seen as really high potential cases for automation? So things like invoice processing, scanning and indexing, running the payments, etc., really high automation potential. And things like approvals, you don't want to keep approvals as automated. A human user will always approve it manually. So you've got some of these things which are very, very low automation potential. Again, in the interest of time, I don't want to cover all of these here. But as I said earlier, I'll be leaving you guys with a copy of this. So you can use this as a map where if you want to think that, hey, what, this RPA thing sounds interesting, but I don't know where to start. You can come back here and you can pick up one of these processes, right? So if, again, within audit, data collection, watching and verification, it's very highly automatable. Of course, issuing opinions will not be automatable. Within the world of accounting, which is record to report, all aspects of reconciliations, closing and reporting, right? As I said, one of the big priorities of CFOs today is how do I close my books faster, right? And for that, again, RPA is really useful. We've got another question from John George. Our current input information software are sufficient for successful RPA? So John, yes and no. It depends really on the depth of information which is present within your system. Now, RPA as a technology is built to be really flexible and work with whatever you have, right? It doesn't force you to work with a specific software or a specific information. It can work with, as you saw in that previous example, it works just like a human user does. So just think of it like this, John. If a human user can do that, and it doesn't require a significant amount of decision making, RPA can also do that, All right, so we are talking about, this entire heat map of different possibilities. And again, I'm going to leave you a copy of this whole thing. And whatever is marked with a star here, now these are things which are really hot in the industry right now. So within procure to pay, invoice processing is really hot, where people are doing this thing called touchless accounts payable or touchless, invoice processing, which means right from the moment when you receive an invoice to extraction of a data, performing a two-way or a three-way match, doing the bookkeeping and all that stuff, it can completely be automated. Similarly, invoice management, closing and reporting, MIS reporting, some of these things are, really, really good use cases. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another bot. This is a bot which we've built for one of our customers. What you're going to see here is a bot which actually picks up information real time from email. It downloads the invoices which are coming in from vendors. It opens those invoices. It automatically extracts data from those invoices. Then it goes to the accounting system, makes the journal entry, does the two-way match, three-way match, it does everything. So right from the moment that a PDF invoice is received till the time it is actually processed, it's a complete touchless process, right? So let me go ahead and play this video. So here you see in the mailbox, there are three different types of invoices. Some of them are PO-based invoices, some of them are non-PO-based invoices. And then what we're going to do, again, we are going to trigger the bot here. So again, we are using UiPath as one of the softwares for automation. As you trigger this automation software here, what it is going to do is in the background, it will be downloading this information from the invoices. It will be categorizing them into various different folders. As you can see, it says it validated one email, which has 4 PDFs, all of them were valid. So it can also run checks saying that, look, every document might not be an invoice which comes in from a vendor. So it is smart enough to categorize which one of them is an invoice, which one is not. Then what it does is that it opens up, right now we're going to the folder where this is stored. So you can say that within this, there are multiple folders which says which one of them are downloaded, extracted, what has failed. Again, download is empty because information has already been extracted from these invoices, right? So let us open up one of these invoices and see how it looks like, right? So if we open up one of these invoices, we will see that it looks something like this, where it has an invoice number, a name, quantity, it's got line item level details, the amount, tax, etc., so on and so forth. And then if we go back and move to the folder which says that data which has been extracted, you can see that it will actually extract all of this data, right? So let us open up that very same invoice. This is a CSV file. If you open it up, you see that all of this data from that invoice, it got extracted, right? And this video is like real time. It's not sped up or anything, right? So all of this information from all the 4 invoices got extracted really quickly. And then as you move ahead, let me just show you how the journal entry is being made. After this is extracted, in this case, the organization is using Oracle EBS as an ERP system. And we just input a certain batch name for this whole thing. Let's say it is whatever, MMD1PB something. Then what it is going to do is it is going to start Oracle EBS login just like a user would do. And you can see this is happening really fast. It already opened it, logged in. Now it is moving on, navigating to the right screen where the entry needs to be made. And once the right screen comes through, right now that screen is loading. So it navigates through all the pop-ups, so on and so forth. And here is the right screen. And within the screen, I'm going to just move a little quicker. It will come to the section where the invoice data has to be entered. It will click on that and it will move forward. And if you can see here, the batch name which we entered, it will enter that batch name and it will start entering all the details one after the other, right? So the operating unit, the PO number, and all the details, right? So right now, this is the header level information of the invoice. And if we move forward, it will also give you all the distribution level, the line item level details. Once it is done, it actually triggers a two-way match, three-way match, and those kind of things. And finally, right now, it triggers a validation process and, the whole 9 yard, right? So imagine scenarios like this. Again, I just wanted to give you an example. Now, talking about how useful a technology like this is for organizations, again, just giving you an example of an actual business case which we implemented for one of our customers. Now, these guys had it was a US-based organization which had about 36,000 different invoices which they processed at an approximate cost of about $17.50 per invoice. They used to spend about $600,000 a year on just the staff costs who process these invoices. We brought all of these down from $17.50 to $4.20 and a 70% reduction in processing time. So imagine if you could implement something like this for your customers, right? And what is the breadth of additional offerings which we as chartered accountants can open up, right? And here's another example of a heat map, which is a little bit more detailed than the one we saw earlier, specifically for source to pay, record to report, opportunity to cash, where there are so many different areas out there. And as I said, I'm going to spend maybe a couple of minutes talking about some of the other technologies also. So while we've spoken about RPA, the other 5 pieces of technology which are going to be really important for chartered accountants are, of course, analytics has to be the backbone of everything we do, because the world is really driven by data. So everything that we do has to have really strong analytics. There's a big movement to move to the cloud. There's a big, surge in cloud-based platforms, and cloud-based platforms are doing better and better. And even as if you have your own practice, you should target to move everything to the cloud, because if you move to the cloud, your data is more secure. You've got a strong backup mechanism. Nobody, if something happens, if a physical incident happens in the office, you'll stay safe and things like that. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to be the second biggest thing after RPA. In fact, RPA is a form of AI, right? And AI is changing the way everything works, right? And, even though today the idea is not to talk a lot about that, but artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to be really big everywhere. Imagine, a situation, and I know a friend who's working on this program, where you just speak into your mobile phone and say that, hey, Siri, can you, give me vendor confirmation for the balances of all my vendors? And Siri can do that. Then you say, hey, Siri, can you call up all of these vendors and check from them if their vendor balances are accurate, which is a part of some of your audit procedures. And Siri can do that for you as well, right? So imagine the day when some of these technologies will come to life. Similarly, cybersecurity is a huge area. As I mentioned earlier, as the volume of data grows and the volume of transactions grow, it's going to be a really important area. And then, of course, blockchain is one of the technologies where it has the greatest possible use case for finance. Dayabhai actually asked me to speak a little bit about triple entry bookkeeping system. So a triple entry bookkeeping system, you earlier had a single entry, then you had a double entry. Now you have a triple entry bookkeeping system, which is going to become very popular in the next couple of years, 2 to 5 years time frame, where if you do your bookkeeping on a blockchain, every transaction is recorded with a third element where it is stored permanently hashed within a blockchain, right? And it makes your method of storing information absolutely secure. So a blockchain is the most trusted, the most secure way of storing and retrieving information, right? So these are some of the technologies which are out there, which is going to be really important, and I've got a couple of slides here. I'm going to very quickly move through it. If you were to compare the finance of yesterday with the finance of tomorrow, and if you were to look at 2 different worlds of professional services and corporate finance roles, earlier in the world of professional services, where you used to offer tax filing services, Now you will offer tax filing automation. And Mohan, this is also for some of the future job roles, right, which you wanted to know. Where you had your traditional audit and assurance, you will have AI and RPA-driven audit. Where you had push-based MIS and reporting, you will have analytics and visualization on cloud. Where you had traditional transaction advisory, you will now have decision impact forecasting, where if a company A wants to acquire a company B, you can create multiple scenarios of how is it going to play out in terms of synergies in case multiple options are there. Earlier, where you used to engage with your customers on demand, when the customers used to call you and say, hey, what, can you do this piece of work for me? Today, you can actually have analytics-driven demand generation, right? And earlier, of course, when finance was a support function and responded to business needs, now in the world of enterprises and corporate, finance is really integrated with business, and it's a core part, and it forecasts the business outcomes. Where you had manual push-based reporting, now you have cloud-based automated reporting. A manual controllership is being replaced with an RPA-driven controllership. A traditional internal audit is being worked and changed to an AI and RPA-driven internal audit. Descriptive reporting is becoming predictive analytics. So some of these changes are real. They are here. They are now. And I want you guys to remember that RPA is nothing to be scared of. And I want to sum this up with what, again, thereby I said earlier, that RPA is dominated by process. And process is our domain, the domain of chartered accountants. And you'll be interested to know that while RPA works for almost every single function in industry, the most adopted function is finance, right? So RPA is dominated by process. Technology is just an enabler. So this is a massive opportunity for CAs to transform finance. And my intention, of course, again, was to kind of just scratch the surface and let you know that what some of these things can do. I want to open this up for questions and answers. Now I'm overshot by 2 minutes, and I just want to leave you with my credentials. If anybody wants to connect with me, please send me an invite on LinkedIn. Here is my email address in case you want to drop in a note. If you have any questions, anything you want to know, I'll be more than happy to be of any help. If you want to get started in digital, if you want to solve some of your customer problems, if you're looking at expanding your practice, or just want to learn, if you need help with any problem solving, feel free to reach out. I'm here and available for your help. With this, I think we have one more question from CA Prakash Mehta. Can RPA be used for confirmation from debtors and creditors and banks? Oh, absolutely. It's a really popular use case, Prakash, and you can absolutely use it for that as well. In fact, if you know that Google has recently developed a technology where you can have your mobile phone make calls, real calls to real people using an AI-based engine, and IBM has a similar technology called the IBM Watson. And some of these technologies are going to become more usable and more accessible to people like us. So today, the way RPA does this is that it sends emails. It automatically reads data of your debtors and creditors balances. It sends emails to all of them. It reads their responses, checks if the items are matching or not. If not, they send a report. But in the future, you may also have a scenario where it can actually call up your debtors and say, hey, you know what, is this your balance with company X? And they can say yes or no. Okay, so with that, again, if anybody else has any more questions, I just want to take a pause. And I think, Neeraj, please go ahead.
Thank you, Saurav, for a fantastic presentation. So I begin with that. But in terms of takeaway from this presentation, I personally feel that for the larger audience, probably people would like to know two things. In Abu Dhabi, most of the members are working for organizations. If they have to go back tomorrow to his boss and say that, yes, I attended a session on RPA, and I think it is a nice idea to implement, what kind of a cost he is looking at, number one, for a small bot or something simple, not so expensive and not so advanced one. This is one. Second, in terms of acquiring knowledge, how to make a bot, you said that UiPath is they run an academy, and we can go through that and learn. Is it easy to learn? Is it very hard? I mean, again, it could be depending on individual capabilities. But generally, I think it's a language, right? Probably something you have to code, write, and make it run as a language. So how
So
easy or
it's
difficult it
not a
is?
language.
And yeah, okay,
So let me answer your second question first.
okay,
Neeraj, the news is that it's not a programming language. The way this works is you have a UI, a user interface in front of you. And just like you build a workflow, you drag and drop elements. So for example, you drag and drop the icon of an Excel file. Then you say, hey, you know what, open this Excel file. Then within this Excel file, do this. So it's based on a user interface. You do not need to know any amount of coding, right? You saw the example where the bot was reading data from invoices and passing it to Oracle EBS. I have personally built that and I don't know any coding. I have no background in coding. I'm a chartered accountant like all of you guys. So that's where this becomes accessible by all of us. Now, coming back to your first question in terms of typically what this costs, right? Now, the cost of an RPA solution is comprised of two components. The first component is the licenses which you need to procure by one of these RPA vendors. Now, if you were to work with the top tier vendors like a UiPath or Automation Anywhere, there are typically two types of automation scenarios, Neeraj. One is known as an attended automation, where a user triggers a bot, right? So let's say that a bot becomes an assistant for you. You can say, hey, bot, the next 50 steps of the transactions should be done by you, and I will take over from there. Now, such scenarios are much cheaper. The licenses are not more than $1,000 to $1,500 per annum. The unattended bot, however, is a little bit more expensive. The whole setup comes at about $10,000 per bot per annum. On top of that, you've got to spend some efforts in programming for that bot. Or typically, you spend anywhere between $10,000 to about $30,000, $40,000 in terms of the total manpower cost which goes into programming it, right? Now, but how do organizations see it from an investment perspective? Typically, the way you look at it is from an ROI perspective, if you were to automate something, it would release capacity. It would release capacity of people who are doing this manually. Calculate the total number of hours which they spend and what is the average pay per hour. That's your size of investment, and organizations who invest in technologies like RPA, they are self-funded. Nobody ever pays for things like RPA. The amount of savings you'll get will be more than that. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a ballpark price range.
no, definitely. Just one more thing to add here. I mean, when you say that to build up a bot, you need to drag and drop and write a command saying that, yes, do this, do that. Sounds very easy, to be honest. Can we do a 2 hours workshop in the next session sometime you can run through making a bot, simple bot? Is that a possibility for our members?
Oh, absolutely, Neeraj.
Can you
in
do
fact,
that? Yeah.
100%. I'll get my, guy also in. He's done these workshops called Build a Bot workshop, where you don't need to do anything about RPA. We'll spend about 3 hours with you. You will create a bot at the end of it. We can absolutely do that.
I think that will be of a real interest for our members. And this will be a good takeaway for each one of them. And if someone has a real interest on it, probably they can build a career on it.
Well, absolutely. It's a fantastic idea which you just popped in. Great. We can do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank
you. We got one more question from Rajiv Nanda. What kind of learning is required to use RPA software? So Rajiv, these are just like you learn Excel, right? Where you work with Excel and learn it. Similarly, you can work with these tools and learn them. You can get started by, there are two interesting tools. One is a UiPath, and the other one is Automation Anywhere. Both of them have their online academies, and they have their free versions called the community editions. You can download without license cost, and you can work with it for till the time you're ready to deploy, and you can use them to learn. It's not as difficult.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's my honor and privilege to propose a word of thanks on behalf of a chapter for today's webinar and farewell meeting of CA B.R. Sudhir. Thank you, CA B.R. Sudhir, for attending today's farewell meeting. Today, what our chapter is enjoying is basically the foundation laid by our past chairman. So we will always remember your contribution to the chapter as a past chairman. Moreover, your contribution to the profession is numerous, and you are a very well-known professional in the accounting and auditing field, which makes us proud. You are a regular visitor at our events, and I hope you will continue to attend online. And whenever you visit UAE, please make it a point to visit us when we start our physical events. Thank you for your guidance and blessing and for everything. Thank you. We wish all the best. I would like to also thank our past chairman, CA Naresh Jain, CA Anshegar, CA Srinivas Achar, and CA Prakash Mehta for participating in the farewell meeting, for showering wishes to CA B.R. Sudhir. Your talk were really nostalgic, and thank you for taking us through the memories of good golden days. Today's webinar was engaging and informative. I'm sure that all members attended today have enhanced the knowledge on RPA and additional features of Tally. Thank you, CA Daniwa Sharmaji, Central Council member of ICA, for being our chief guest. And thank you for addressing our members. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Raghu SD, Regional Manager of Tally, for sharing knowledge on Tally, and your demo was really useful. I hope our members will contact you for further details. I would like to also thank C. Saurav, co-founder and CEO of MindMap Digital, for talking on RPA and digital transformation. It was an excellent presentation. I hope that in future, this is going to be the future for tomorrow's accountant. And this is a starting point, and it's a good learning we have today. I'd like to thank all committee members for the support for making this event a grand success. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all our sponsors. I wish to express my gratitude to all participants, our members. I hope it was a great learning for all of us. Thank you for being with us this evening. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.